everyone, and welcome to episode 148 of A Stitch in Time. Today is Wednesday, July 15th, 2020. Yes, I said July 15th. We are halfway through July already, and I'm not quite sure where the first 2 weeks of it went. My name is Carol. You can find me on Ravelry as Knitsnpurls, and I live in the Fraser Valley of British Columbia, not too far from Vancouver. As always, I'd like to extend a special hello and welcome to any new viewers. And if you are a returning viewer, hello again, welcome back, and thank you for coming by yet again to spend part of your day with me. A huge thank you also to everyone who reached out in one way or the other this past week. I so appreciate hearing from all of you, but I have to confess I'm a little bit behind in some of my replies. I'm hoping to remedy that by the time this episode goes live, but if that doesn't happen, know that I have seen your message and I will do my best to get back to you as soon as possible. This week has turned out to be a little bit busier than I had first anticipated, and in fact I am attempting to record and hopefully edit this episode before my two youngest grandchildren arrive here in about 2 hours' time. So wish me luck on that. I'll talk a little bit more about what's going on there in a little while, but first let's talk about some knitting. I have a finished project to share with you this week, as well as 3 other works in progress, or WIPs. So let's get at it. My first project are the first pair of Father's Day socks that I am knitting for my husband, Cameron. So they are knit from Cascade Heritage Wave. This color is graphite, or number 515. And as you can see, it's various shades of gray. There are not 50 of them, but there are probably about 6. This yarn is knit or is constructed by spinning 2 colors of yarn together to create a marled yarn, and then it randomly changes shades throughout. So there's no matching these socks. They are fraternal rather than identical. I had given my husband a skein of this yarn for Christmas and knit those socks up earlier this year, and they are his favorite socks. They are very soft. He says they're the warmest socks he has, and so I decided to knit him some more and wrapped up 3 skeins for Father's Day. So cast this pair on Father's Day, and I'm pleased to be finish them. They are not the most interesting socks to knit, let's just put it that way, but the yarn is nice and soft and I do enjoy working with it. These are 72 stitch socks, 2x2 rib, traditional heel flap and gusset, rounded toe. So nothing fancy, just basically, plain vanilla socks. But they're good ones to just knit on while you're, talking to people visiting or the like. So, and you can see, as I mentioned, they are not identical. This was the first sock I knit. This was the second. You can see just the coloration is a little bit different on each. If I bring that up closer, you can see that marling in the yarn. So yeah, happy to get those done, and I have done a little bit more on my Sunny Day socks. They're another pair of plain stockinette socks that I'm working on, but I didn't bother bringing them in today to show you. I'm hoping next time, by next week, maybe they'll actually be finished. So in the meantime, happy to have these ones done. So that was my faux, my finished object. Here's my hoe, my half-finished object. This is the first of my pair of Luminary socks by Helen Stewart, and this is the first sock in her Handmade Sock Society 3 collection. I knit it from skein yarn in Top Draw Socks, that's the base, and Quill is the colorway. It matches my shirt. I love how this sock has turned out. As soon as I saw the pattern, I knew that this was the yarn I was going to use, and I really just love how they go together. The sock features a 1x1 twisted rib, has this star stitch pattern that runs down the front of the sock. It's bordered by this little bit of lace. I'll just flip the sock around so you can see that star pattern maybe a little bit more clearly. And then the back is plain, has a slip stitch, traditional heel flap, gusset, rounded toe. I knit the 64 stitch size and on a 2mm needle, which is usually the needle I choose for knitting a fingering weight yarn, whether it be for a sock for myself or someone else. So yeah, very happy to have this one done. I have cast on the second sock. I've knit a couple of rows of ribbing, and so now all 3 of the patterns from this collection that I cast on, I don't know, a month, 6 weeks ago or something like that, I've now completed the first sock and have started the ribbing on the second one. So I am going to concentrate on getting those socks knit up over the next little while. So then I will cast on the next one in that collection once I'm finished these 3. It seemed like a really great idea at the time to cast on so many, and now it's weighing on me a little bit. So I'm anxious to just pare my projects down a little bit more. So the next 2 projects are both mystery knit along projects, or MCALs. And so if you're not interested in being spoiled, maybe go away for the next 5 minutes or so, or fast forward the next 5 minutes or so and then come back and see the rest. The first is the Stillness Shawl by Helen Stewart, up to clue 3, and also the Destination Unknown mystery socks from Very Busy Monkey, which is the Sock Knitters Anonymous mystery sock or mock for this knit along period. I was thinking about, as I was writing up show notes, how many acronyms we knitters use. You know, FO for finished object, and HO for half finished object, and MCAL for mystery knit along, and WIP for works in progress. It's kind of an alphabet soup, really, but as long as we all know what we're talking about, I guess it's okay. Anyway, Stillness Shawl coming up, so look away if you do not want to be spoiled. So as I mentioned, I have knit up to clue 3 of this shawl. It is a half pie or half semicircular shawl, featuring 3 colors of yarn, and I chose the yarn based on a still life photo that I own because the theme for this knit along is still life. So all of the yarns I've chosen are from Sweet Georgia Yarns. The orange here is the Cashluxe Fine in Persimmon. The green is Tough Love Sock in Pistachio, and then the colored yarn here is Rainbow Sprinkles, also in Tough Love Sock. The only difference that I have made is I knit my green stripes in garter stitch instead of stocking stitch as the pattern instructed. I started out doing them in garter stitch or in stocking stitch, and I just kept going back to thinking I'd prefer them in garter to make them pop a little more, give them a little more texture. And so that's what I did. Other than that, I've knit as instructed. So from here, here to here is clue number 1. And then clue number 2 is this lace section. and then another striped section. And as I mentioned last week, I skipped right by the instructions to turn this row into an eyelet row. I just knit it as plain stocking stitch. So I did go back, pull it back, and re-knit the last part of clue 3. Or clue 2, I should say. And then this is clue 3, which features that same star stitch that's on the luminary socks. So I'll hold this back here. That will hopefully give you a good overall look at my progress so far. And I'm very happy with how it's coming along. Clue 4 comes out tomorrow. And in the meantime, I've been working on, as I mentioned, the Destination Unknown Socks by Very Busy Monkey. The inspiration for this pattern is the novel by Agatha Christie, and I thought it would be fun to choose a yarn that kind of matched the cover. So I think I did pretty well with that. The yarn I am using is also Sweet Georgia Yarns Tough Love Sock. This is the Strawberry Tea colorway. Last week I had finished clue 1 on one sock and clues 1 and 2 on the other sock, and I've now finished clue 2 on both socks. And so there you go. As you can see, it is a really pretty lace pattern. I needled my face there. Yeah, I love how they're turning out so far. They are very much in the style of many Very Busy Monkey patterns, and I enjoyed her patterns for quite a long time. And so it's one of those, she's one of those designers that you can't really go wrong with. So when I saw this pattern come up on my pattern highlights on Ravelry, when I saw it was a Very Busy Monkey pattern and an Agatha Christie inspired pattern, I thought I just can't go wrong with that. And I hadn't participated in a mystery sock knit along for quite a while either, and that appealed. So clue 3 came out today. I have printed it off, but I haven't actually gone over and read it yet, so I'm not really sure what's in store for clue 3, other than I know we finished the leg and start on the heel. So looking forward to doing some more work on these socks. Okay, I'm going to take a quick sip of tea before I talk about what's going on around here this week. So Saturday morning, Cameron and I went and bottled a couple of batches of wine, one for my mom and one for ourselves. I just wanted to show you this beautiful wine label. This is a special edition rosé from Spain called Deb. And when I saw the poster for it on the wall of the shop last time we bottled wine, I knew that we had to order it, if only for the label. Cameron and I both enjoy rosés, so we thought we'd try this new one, and I decided this time definitely getting labels on the bottles. We usually don't bother. We usually just choose different colored toppers to differentiate one kind of wine from another, but I thought this time we're getting it labeled. And even though this particular rosé is no longer available because it was a limited time only special, we're going to keep the labels on and just continue to put our usual rosé in these bottles, because I just love that artwork. The rest of the wine line were all different other 20 style people on them, but none of the other kinds of wines appealed to us. So yeah, I just wanted to show you that. And it's good. That's a relief since we have 30 bottles of it to drink. Thankfully, we also like the wine, not just the label. So then, yeah, Saturday afternoon, our son-in-law came by with, he delivered 2 trailer loads of bark mulch, and we spent the rest of the day refreshing the bark mulch on our gardens, which I think we hadn't done for a couple of years now, two or three, two I think. So they all, so we unfortunately still didn't have enough to finish. So he came by Monday with another trailer load, and I had about half of that done by the time Cameron got home from work. Then we spent the rest of the next hour or so finishing it off. We didn't eat dinner till I think about 8:30 that night. And then as it turns out, we still need about another half a load, but that's the area that's behind the shed, so you don't really see it. So looking out at the gardens now, we can just see everything looks so fresh and clean after having done some weeding and trimming in that last week. So yeah, it just looks really nice right now. We know it won't stay. It always needs upkeep, but for the moment, really enjoying how things look. So I mentioned I've got the younger grandkids coming shortly to look after this afternoon. Normally, my oldest granddaughter looks after the younger ones when my daughter's at work. But she's spending the week with her mom this week. So Jessica asked me if I could watch the kids for a few days. So I had them yesterday for the first time. We'll have them today and then tomorrow. And then they're actually going to stay overnight on Thursday. And then Friday we are heading up to the cabin till Sunday. And my oldest granddaughter, her mom lives about an hour and a half's drive from the cabin, and so she is going to drive her over there Friday afternoon, so she'll meet up with us there. So looking forward to that. It was the first time we've really had the kids in the house for any length of time. We've now brought them into our bubble, and it's not without some anxiety. Numbers have upticked a little bit here in BC since going into phase 3, but they're still at a manageable level, and the cases all seem to be easily related and traceable. So we're not seeing any widespread community spread. So the risk is still relatively low that one of us is going to transmit it to the other. So it's, as you know, it's an uncertain time, and we can't ever take it for granted that we're not going to get sick or pass it on to someone else, but our risk is still very low. So I have to keep telling myself that, because I definitely have just anxiety about the whole COVID-19 situation in general. Anyway, on a brighter note, it was lovely to have them here. Although I told my son-in-law when he came to pick them up that I think I need 2 sets of ears, one for each side, to process what each kid is saying, because they like to talk and they talk over each other, and it's like I gotta slow them down and get them to take turns. But it is lovely to have them here and to just get to be a little bit closer. I've missed hugs. I've missed sitting reading with my granddaughter, and I got to do that yesterday. So looking forward to the next few days. I think that is it, except for my something good. And my something good this week is hummingbird moths. A number of years ago, probably 8 to 10 years ago, Cameron and I were sitting outside one evening and saw what we thought was a baby hummingbird come to one of the flowers, one of the flowering plants that was near where we were sitting. And out of curiosity, I Googled baby hummingbird, and what came up is the fact that baby hummingbirds actually don't fly. And what we had likely seen was a hummingbird moth, and it is a moth that, for all intents and purposes, looks like a baby hummingbird. And we have seen them several times since then. One time it was such a coincidence. It was about 5 or 6 years ago, and Cameron's mom was here. And we happened to be talking about them, and literally within a few minutes, one came to a plant near us. And so we were able to show her for real what this was all about. So anyway, last night we were sitting outside with our son. He had come over for a visit, and it was almost dark. And Cameron and I had something that went flying really fast between us, but it didn't have the buzz of a hummingbird. And our first thought was a bat, but then it didn't seem big enough for a bat. And then what we realized is there was actually more than one hummingbird moth we were sitting on the deck in the part that is bordered by what I call my hummingbird, bee, and butterfly garden. And these hummingbird moths are attracted to high nectar plants like hummingbirds. And so we watched them going to the honeysuckle and the salvia and some of the other plants. So I tried to get a video. I'm going to put a little bit of a clip in here. It's quite dark, but you can see the hummingbird moth silhouetted against the white siding of the house. But then I used my flash and I got several still photos, so I'm going to include those here too. So yeah, if you're curious, look up hummingbird moths. They're very cool. Okay, so that will do it for this week. Thank you, as always, for watching, and I wish you all the best in the week ahead. Stay well, stay safe, enjoy your crafting, and I will see you again very soon.